Are you looking for hope? You've come to the right place. Welcome to Seeds of Hope with Del and Penny. Encouragement for what you face today, tomorrow, and always. And now, here are your hosts, Penny Cook and Del Bates.
Hello again, and welcome to Seeds of Hope with Penny and Del and Penny. I am Penny Cook, and my co-host is Del Bates. Hello, Del.
Good. Hello.
Our guest today, his name is also Del.
Yes. You might get a little confused today if Penny says Dell and we're not sure which one she is referring to.
Already mixed up on names, so. But we are here live on Vero's Voice Magazine Facebook page. And after that, you can find us on all your favorite podcast platforms. So we welcome Del Didway.
Thank you.
Yes, we do. And let me tell you a little bit about him. Del is an award-winning author and a writer who lives in Lucasville, Ohio. He has authored more than 20 books, and he covers the NFL in Portsmouth Daily Time. He is a high school football coach. You're a coach, or you just cover the radio?
I just do that for the radio.
You are all-around guy, aren't you? His first book, which was First Down Devotion, Inspirations from NFL, it won the first place in, Penny's got that one, in the CELA Awards at the Blue Ridge Mountain Christian Writers Conference back in 2020. Del is represented by Kyle Young, and he's also an agent himself now. Last year, he was on faculty for the Serious Writer when they went to Italy for the Italy Writers Conference in Tuscany. And if you like to look at pictures, go on his Facebook page and you can see some beautiful pictures from Italy last year. He has taught at several writers' conferences, and he's covered many major sporting events, including Super Bowl 2022. Welcome, Del.
Well, thank you. That was quite the introduction, so thank you.
Welcome.
It would be great to have Del on this week because of Father's Day coming up, because if you need a Father's Day gift, he's got a book for you.
Yes.
He's got so many for the different sports and even different states. How many have you got now, Del?
Right now, of course, Dell was holding up a book. Right around 21 books to be out by the end of this year. Just launched a book, a golf book, and I'm getting ready to launch 2 more books later this year.
Golf.
Threes, Bogeys, and Blessings that just launched about a month and a half ago. Is doing well.
Wow.
So just a lot of fun.
My husband has enjoyed your books.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Really enjoying the golf one because he is an avid golfer. So.
And I have a very hard time holding this one up because I'm a Michigan fan.
Well,
and this is the Ohio book.
Did you get this one?
I saw that one, the Michigan mode. Yes, I have that one in Florida.
Yeah, Kyle and I wrote that one together, so he kind of made me that one.
I got that one at one of the conferences, of course, for Michigan. I had to get that one, and got that for my son also.
So we try to hit some of the bigger fan bases. Can't get to every one of them. We're trying our best. So we can only write one book at a time. So we hear a lot of folks, why don't you do this school or that school? And so we just take it and consider it, and we'll go from there.
Mm-hmm. Well, you are amazing. Just the way you can get these books out one after the other. And they're awesome because they're devotions. Mm-hmm. So you're taking stories, but then you're also bringing them scripture. Mm-hmm.
And hope. As I read them, I realize it's not just a fun story about
right.
Really wrap it up after with tee it up, for instance, in the golf one, with some questions and some inspiration, encouragement. So they're just great. And you can see if you're watching, you can see they're not very big.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
they-
the books are they're a good size. I mean, I can fit it in my back pocket actually.
Yeah.
So they're a good size to carry if you ever put in a travel bag or a plane bag or something, or
Hmm.
you can put it in a golf bag. So they're very, I guess they're called portable
Right.
portable books.
But they're great gifts, especially this week for Father's Day, where, you're looking for something for dad, and either you want something extra or you just want, something to give. It's just a perfect gift.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
there's books, even though they're like Birdies, Bogeys, and Blessings. I feature golf players. The book's not about golf, or the
uh-huh.
NFL book's not about football or baseball. It's about well-known players who are in that league or who play that
Right.
sport, and what challenges they faced, or what obstacles they had to overcome, or who inspired them.
Mhm.
So it kind of brings it down to the everyday person's level that these folks face problems. These
Yes.
people had issues that they dealt with, or their families dealt with, that you and I deal with. So just how they handled them and how they got through it. And so it kind of, I just use players to bring in the reader, because they'll say,
Hmm.
"Hey,
You like,
Jack Nicklaus. I know Jack Nicklaus. Wow, he said this or he did that." So
Right.
yeah. And if you like a certain sport,
right.
and then you like the players, it's always nice to read about them.
Mm.
Right.
While it may not be specifically about golf, for instance, Jordan Spieth, he
Yeah.
talks his sister who has Down syndrome,
Mm.
so again, challenges and so forth that they face.
Hmm.
Yeah, he told me that his sister inspires him.
Mm,
So,
Wow.
so the I haven't gone back to look at it, but the gist of that devotion is, who do you inspire? What
mm,
do you
Mm.
do? What do you bring?
Hmm.
yeah,
So, do you weigh somebody down, or do you inspire somebody to do better?
yeah,
Hmm.
it's good stuff.
Mm.
So we know you have another job. How did you
Yeah.
the right?
I do have a job, the job I love. I work for Billy Graham Evangelistic Association, and I'm on the road or in the air a lot, and
Mm,
so I find time
Wow.
in the evenings when I'm in a hotel room to write. A lot
like,
of time do that. So I'll be in hotel rooms in the evening. So I'll work on devotions or work on writing then, because I'm by myself, nothing else to do,
mhm,
and so it provides a great time for me to either get some quiet time, um, to work on some chapters. So that's typically when I do that.
Wow.
and what
So,
made you start writing?
Well, I grew up, one of my first job out of college, I was a sports writer for our local paper.
mhm.
Loved it.
Wow.
The funnest job I ever had. And then I was in the media for quite a while. And he's either a writer or broadcaster or on television. And when kids came along, I realized I wasn't making anything. I had to raise a family, and on a local media salary, it just doesn't cut it. So I had to look for other avenues, and was successful in that. But always stayed in the sports writing world because I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
It was fun, and I still do it today. I'm still a freelance sports writer because I enjoy it. It's just a lot of fun. Like I did some stuff.
That's good.
mhm,
But so anyway, I kind of got out of writing sort of for a little bit, not totally, but I would write for some magazines here and there. But we had a kind of a family tragedy happen about 8 years ago, and so my wife encouraged me. I think, Dale, you've met my wife.
Right. Oh, Angie. Yeah.
Yeah, so she encouraged me to start writing about it, blogging about it. So I did. I started a website, started blogging, and
Hmm.
then it turned into a manuscript. I didn't know what to do with it. I really didn't know. I said, "Well, now what do I go? I've never done this before." And so reached out to a friend who I didn't know at the time. Her name, I think you guys know her. Her name is Michelle Medlock Adams.
Hmm.
And Michelle and I struck up a friendship, even though we'd never met. And she encouraged me to go to a conference. She encouraged me to do a website. She encouraged me to do all this stuff. She kind of pushed me,
Yeah.
and
It's
I
Michelle.
I did what she told me to do.
Yeah.
And then that led me to meeting, I think at the first Christian Floor conference, Adele, where we met, which where I
Right.
met Kyle Young, my agent. And so long story short is the manuscript I originally took to that conference. Nobody was interested in it. And but at that conference, I also met an editor for a major publisher who said, "Have you ever thought about sports devotionals? Because you have a sports writing background."
Oh, so that's where it came from.
That's where it came from. So,
Wow.
in fact, a good twist on that is I went back, came back to Ohio, started researching it, started going to baseball games, started interviewing players, putting their stories in devotions. Because I actually went and researched some devotions, and the ones I picked up and read, I really didn't like them. So I thought I'm going to come up with my own style and my own format, and I did. And so the interesting part about that is when we contacted this publisher who pitched the idea to me, um, they were asking all these questions. Kyle and I got on this Zoom call with like 19 people, it seemed like, and they said, "When can you have this done?" I said, "When you want it." And they said, "Well, such date." I said, "Sure, I'll have it done." Got it done. Did a proposal, massive proposal. Got it done. Got it sent to them. Then the ones who pitched it to me, turned me down.
Oh my gosh.
They turned me down. And so
Wow.
we were like, "Are you kidding me?" I've spent like the last
Whoa.
4 months killing myself. And so the book sat in limbo for like a year. And
Oh
then
my goodness.
came back to Florida Conference. And that's where we met. Then Ramona Richards was with New Hope and Iron Stream,
Yeah.
John Herring. And John's like, "I love this." And
Hmm.
that was why, I guess, the long delay was because it was meant for Iron Stream. And so
Oh my goodness.
developed, a whole series now and on book number 8 or 9 of that series. So, well, yeah, that's what happened there. So I never
Oh.
ever wanted to write a book. And so at age 50, uh, I started my writing journey, and now, you know, 21 books later and 7 years has
Uh,
been phenomenal. It's been a fun ride.
It's really amazing because we have done a interview with Eva Marie
Hmm.
Everson on her book, and
Yeah,
she was giving us the exact same story
yeah,
where hers was going, I get chills, hers was going somewhere. It didn't end up there, and it ended up at a different house, different
yeah.
publishing house. And she says that she knows that's where that one belongs. So encouragement to any authors who are out there listening today that don't get stuck if it's not going where you think it's supposed to go. Because I'm speaking to myself, it's a project I'm in right now that God knows where it's supposed to go. You know,
Yeah.
wow.
Rejection is just another opportunity, as I'll
Yeah.
look at it. So don't get discouraged. You get rejected again. The same publisher who pitched the idea rejected me
Wow.
because the whole premise was they didn't know how I was going to sell, 5,000 copies. And I said, well, I will. And they said, how? So I don't know how, but I will. And they just didn't know me. And so,
and
you know,
like,
that book that they turned down, that they wanted 5,000 copies sold, has hit about 17,000 copies sold. So,
Wow.
so it's kind of not. I'm not taking. I'm not proud about it, but I mean, it was kind of a neat little
yeah,
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's always an encouragement to someone listening
yeah.
because there's always someone who's there struggling and not knowing how is it going to happen, when's it going to happen, but and really that's why Penny and I do what we do is to help encourage other authors. We want to get the backstory to your book and we want to encourage others as they're listening to you.
Yeah. So if you get that rejection, you keep going, because again, that book sat on on my desk for about a year before
Wow.
it was taken. And then, like I said, I've got 3 books I've written, have never been published. So I've written like 25 books. I'm
Wow.
gonna
Oh
find
my
a hole for
gosh.
some of them here. So, and
Oh,
the manuscript I originally took to a conference to pitch,
yes.
it's not personal. Nobody really wanted it. So it was
Wow.
God saying, "Hey, this got you there. Now
Yeah.
I'm gonna take you in a different direction." So
Did you ever publish that one yet?
I
Or
ended up self-publishing it
oh, okay.
because it was more personal and it was a more regional book. And I get it
Uh-huh.
now. Oops,
Oh, oh,
oop, I
you're
lost
okay.
somebody.
You're still there.
You are? Oh,
Yeah.
what happened? So it was more of a regional book, more of a, and I see that now because I'm, author, and I do some
Hmm.
agent. it doesn't appeal to a publisher. I wouldn't, if I was a publisher, I wouldn't take it either, probably because it was
Mm,
more localized. So that's why I
yeah.
self-published it, and I did it on a very low level. I got it out, got my investment back, and that's really what I was concerned about. So
Wow. Well, great.
So you have interviewed so many sports people. I can't
Right.
imagine how you have time to do that. But how does that come about?
well, that's why I have I am still a sports writer, but I'm a freelancer, so I do have media credentials. So when I go to an event, I go to meet a certain player or players and
Hmm.
talk to them about their faith and about things like that. So that's why I still cover the Bengals, because for our local paper, um, they get stories, I get access. It's a good win-win for both of us.
Hmm.
It doesn't cost them anything. It doesn't cost me anything. So it's a good trade out, and it still keeps me doing my fun hobby as being a sports writer. I've scaled it back. I used to do everything. I used to cover the baseball, and I used to cover basketball and football.
Wow.
Scaled it back to just the NFL now, and so but I can still go to other events. Like I went to the Memorial Golf Tournament this past weekend because I
Hmm.
had my golf book was out.
Wow.
I wanted to get
Yeah.
some of the players. So
Wow.
Do
So
you
how did you get to Super Bowl?
the Bengals went. And so I
Okay.
covered the Bengals, and so we all went out to LA to cover the Bengals. And then I went
Wow.
to another Super Bowl when I was writing for did some freelancing for Athletes in Action, and I went up there to interview some players as well. So
Hmm.
a couple of Super Bowls, but the one with the Bengals out in Los Angeles was actually working it because we do cover the Bengals, and so
Did they win?
they did not win. It was a great game.
Oh,
They did not
uh,
win the game. Very close game. Came down to the last couple of minutes. Came down to the last play actually. So did not win. Hopefully, be back in New Orleans this year.
mhm.
That's where it's at.
Probably we watched it, but I don't remember.
It's okay. A lot of people want to forget it now. So, but
Yeah.
great game, good experience, a lot of fun.
Uh-huh.
so do you have any favorites that you've interviewed that really
Oh,
inspired?
yeah. I've had if somebody, most of them I really enjoy. They're brief. My interview with Tim Tebow was really memorable. We had a good time.
Mm.
Great. It was more of getting the interview than the interview itself, but
Uh-huh.
get exclusive with Tim Tebow, which is not easy to do, but I was able to get it done. Uh,
Wow.
Curtis Granderson, he's retired now. Great Major League Baseball player. Great interview. We just had a great time
Uh-huh.
sitting down in the dugout talking before
Wow.
the game was really good. I have so many good ones that I can't really narrow them down, but DeAndre Hopkins, who's a wide receiver in the NFL, was just a fun interview
Hmm.
after the game. So they're all memorable. Most of them I try to get notable names. There's some people in these books you may not have heard of, but the majority of players you're going to people if you follow baseball, if you follow football, if you follow golf,
Right.
I know that name.
Right. Right.
So, but there's a few they'll say, "No, who's this?" So,
Right.
but it's okay.
Wow. Are you
Actually,
ever nervous when you interview them, or is
No,
it just natural now? Just
no,
natural.
and that's one of the classes I teach when I do go to conferences is the art of the interview and how not to be if you want to approach a celebrity or a
Uh-huh.
big name to include in your book or for an endorsement on the do's and don'ts. And so I kind of go,
Mhm.
but I don't get nervous at all. Um,
Great.
they're just a person just like you and me, and you don't ever act starstruck. You don't ever tell them you're a big fan. You just talk to them,
Hmm.
you ask them your questions, and tell them what you're doing. So, um,
Wow.
yeah, if you act like a fan, they're not gonna talk to you.
That's awesome. Really.
Yeah,
It's kind of like just doing podcasts, you know.
exactly.
It's just the same thing where we try and just carry on just like you're sitting at a dinner table, lunch table and talking and just, and then
Yeah. Yeah, the only time I ever acted that got excited was growing up. I had three players that I don't say idolized that I liked to watch.
uh-huh.
One in each sport. One was Pete Rose in baseball, and basketball was Larry Bird, and in football was always Roger Staubach. I grew up watching Roger Staubach play.
Oh,
I
wow.
got to interview Larry several times. Got to interview Pete Rose several. In fact, there's a picture of me and Pete right behind my right ear here. You can see right there.
Okay.
And so I got to interview Pete a few times, but I never met Roger Staubach. And I was up at the Super Bowl up in Minnesota when the Patriots were playing Eagles, and I looked down the hallway after doing all these interviews, and there comes Roger Staubach. Finally,
Uh,
after all these years, I thought, "There's Roger." So I got a little excited, but that was the only time I acted like a fan. But was able to talk to him for a little bit and get a picture with him. So
well.
I got to check all my boxes off there.
You have a lot of those pictures on your Facebook page.
On my website, AdeleDuduit.com, under the gallery section. I need to update it. There's several I haven't put on there recently, but you just forget it. You just don't think about it
Mhm.
like that. So, but that's fun. I mean, it's neat. I got a lot of pictures of people on the walls and in other rooms, but just kind of neat. If I interview them, we have a good conversation. We'll typically get a picture or something like that.
Mhm.
Commemorate it, and most don't mind at all. They kind of like it. In fact, I've had a couple of them ask me for the picture, so it's kind of neat.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Um, so when you come with all your books, what would you say, which is your favorite? If you had
I asked that the other day. A couple of them. I'll narrow it down to one. Dugout Devotions, because it's done really, really well.
which one was that?
Dugout Devotions, the first
Oh,
one.
okay. The
It's
one
done
Penny has.
really,
Okay.
really, really, really well as far as
Uh-huh.
and it was really kind of the pioneer. The first one. Now, First Down Devotions also did well as well. But I don't know if I have a favorite, but um, my Bengals book coming out. I really like the way it flowed.
Oh, that's good.
I liked it, not just because it's a Bengal, but just the way it kind of took off.
Uh-huh.
It's a little different
Right.
than some of my others, so a little different format, but I really like it just because the way it flows and the way it just
Mhm.
came out, and um, it's kind of a neat.
Wow.
But sometimes I would be writing, I would hit a lull, or I'd hit a little block, or I'd take some time and walk away and come back. I never had that with this. It's just sailed through. This just really flowed. And
Mhm.
was kind of sad when when it was over. I thought, oh, I'm done. Oh, I'll
Uh,
go write some more. Because I just like the way it just continually
Writing
had a
in
lot
there.
of,
yeah.
there's a lot of creative juices going in there. It's
Yeah.
really,
It's kind of like reading a novel. You get to the end and you're like, I don't want it to be
I
over.
know.
I don't
So,
want
but
it to
yeah,
be over.
that it comes out later this fall. It's called Bengal Believer
Uh-huh.
52 Who Day Devotions. If you know anything about the Bengals, Who Day is their slogan, even though it's silly.
Uh-huh.
So I went Who Day Devotions instead of devotions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that one comes out, and then the other one coming out really soon is Goal Line Devotions. And it's my third NFL installment. We just went with a
Wow.
different cover, different name instead of First Down Devotions 3.
Uh-huh.
Goal Line Devotions, but it's the same format, different players, a lot of
Mhm.
different players in here. So they're all fun. I enjoy
Right.
doing all of them. But and maybe the one Dell held up earlier, my Buckeyes book, because that really, I didn't interview any players for that. They're all great moments.
Right.
Whereas the other devotions, I actually interview the player,
Mhm.
talk about but in the Buckeye book, it's more of a great moments, great plays, great players,
Mhm.
maybe a bad moment here and there. Uh,
Oh,
they don't win every game, so same thing with the Alabama and Auburn books. They're all about.
right. Then you wrote one with Michelle Medlock Adams.
Wrote one
That
with
was the
Michelle,
Hoosier.
Heart of a Hoosier,
Right.
and it's about obviously Indiana basketball.
Right.
More of a motivational book, but again, the
Mhm.
same format. We relived great moments and plays and players throughout
Wow.
Indiana basketball history, and same thing with Kentucky passion, about Kentucky basketball, then the Michigan.
Mhm.
We've got some projects down the road we want to work on. I have to slow down a little bit. I can't
Yeah.
keep pumping out 2 or 3 books a year. It's just not.
Right. You got those grandkids to play with.
Grandkids. Speaking of kids, the sports shorts was just a fun book. It's for kids.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
it's NFL and Major League Baseball combined into 52 chapters, and it's more of in fact, I had to learn how to how to write for kids. So
Oh, wow.
it was an interesting project because I'd never done that. So I had to, in fact, I had to send some chapters to Michelle. Say, hey, you write for children. How's this sound? So she would tweak and say, hey, you need to use this word instead of this word.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
learn a little bit about writing for kids. But
So is that a book? Let me explain. So is that a book for kids to learn how to write or for
no, it's they're all sports devotions as well, but they're
Oh,
for
wow.
like fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth graders, something like
Yeah, I'm
that.
thinking of my grandkids. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, that's a good
So
idea.
they're sports shorts. It's in that Stars of Faith series with
Uh-huh.
our but they're shorter chapters.
Okay.
You know, kind of just get to the point for kids. Obviously, their attention span, so they're about 250, 300 words per chapter instead of 1,000.
400 or
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh, that's very interesting.
yeah. We
So
like that.
in our last couple minutes, I have a question about if one of your titles is Having Impossible Faith. And I don't have that one, but
Right.
Yeah.
That's the one I self-published.
I
So
was going to ask if that was it.
yeah,
Yeah, I saw it on
yeah,
Amazon. Yeah.
yeah, that was it. And again, a publisher wasn't just interested because it was about my sister-in-law. I mean,
Hmm.
so I get it now,
Yeah.
but she was she died on her third bout with cancer,
Hmm.
and she kind of opted not to take treatment a third time and relied on her faith. And so the book
Wow.
is about three people who faced insurmountable odds and relied on their faith. So I was able to interview one person specifically, as the other two people are gone, but
Hmm.
how it impacted people and how they dealt with it.
Wow.
So yeah,
good.
that's what. So yeah, that's the only one I did self-publish that one. So and it's not sports related at all. But that book was what got me to
To the rest. Yeah, to the
yeah
rest.
to
Yeah.
meet Michelle and her helped me launch my
Uh-huh.
writing career and so
Wow.
that's what was the launching pad for that. But
Well, that sounds like there's a market for that book too,
yeah,
though.
yeah,
Yeah.
well actually, but so it just yeah, it was the starting point. But
Hmm.
something else to tell folks if they're watching that don't get discouraged about if you take a project to a conference and they say no.
Right.
If 35 people say no, then maybe listen. Say, hey, but because I've shared this before. I was at my first writers conference ever. I was
Mhm.
told, and I won't say who or what, but I was told I would never. My talent wasn't that great. I would probably never be published.
Wow.
And another friend of mine was told a similar thing. But this is at a writing conference, at a Christian writers conference. I did my 10-minute pitch. The person reviewed it and they said, you know what? I just don't see you ever being published. I said, okay, thank you for your, and then, 21 books later and a few CELO awards. And
Wow.
when I see this person, I go up and shake their hand every time and tell them it's good to see them.
You
And
know, you,
so,
we were all there once,
yeah,
Yes. Yep. I've been there.
conferences to improve the craft.
Right.
Yeah, at first we may not seem like we could get published, but we're there to learn.
Right. Right.
So
little.
going
So,
to say that is,
Yeah.
so yeah, and this person's still involved with conferences. I was like, my gosh, you told me and another friend you'd not ever be published, and here I am. But yeah, so don't let that discourage you from it.
Hmm.
Keep going. Just
Wow.
keep going and keep learning the craft.
yeah.
Well, I am encouraged by you because I remember the first time meeting you, you opened the door for me. And
I remember
I
that.
never
Florida.
forgot that. And that was
Yep.
how we first met. And Michelle was there, and I
Yep.
knew Michelle and then knew you. But look how far you've come. So I just encourage our listeners. We thank you for coming on the show, number one, and your time, as busy as you are, but that you've encouraged other people by being here and by all the books, you've written. It's a journey. It's great.
Yeah, and I've had
It's
a lot
a
of help.
great
A lot,
encouragement.
a lot of people helped me. Michelle started me out. I'll
Yeah.
indebted to Michelle, and then everybody, Kyle Young, who took me on as a client when I had nothing to offer. I had no
Wow.
platform. I had nothing. So, and
Wow.
people tell you platform matters. It does matter to a certain extent. But I remember one publisher who was rejecting me, who was getting ready to reject me, and they said, "Well, your platform's not that big." Blah blah blah. And he mentioned Twitter and some other things. And I said, and I got on my phone. I said, "Well, I've got more followers than you do."
Oh,
And
too
so,
funny.
so yeah, I was like, you know what? Don't tell me that one. Come up with something.
Oh,
So
that's
don't get
cute.
discouraged. Just keep going.
Yeah.
Oh,
Good word, good word. And again, listeners, if you need a Father's Day gift,
Yeah.
Bill's got something there for just about every guy. So
And hey, in the Birdies, Bogeys, and Blessings, there's a female golfer in that one. So hey, you know, just
okay.
just saying.
Well, if our listeners are trying to find you, where's the best place they can find you?
Well, if they can't find me here at my house in Ohio, they can look
Oh,
online at my website, deldudway.com, and that's
okay.
Duduyt, or on Facebook, on Twitter, or X, Del Dudway. I've kind of scaled back some social media, but I don't do them all,
Okay.
and that's about where else. Send me a message on my website is probably the best way.
Okay. Well, that's great.
they're all on Amazon.
We
Oh,
pray the best for you and just keep on going.
thank
Keep
you for the
on going.
time. I appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.